I suspect many of us have felt the same way as a man up Tacoma Way who has found himself fined for littering for cleaning up fast food restaurant wrappers at the site of the much disputed McDonald's restaurant that's been built there. It's a bizarre story and one that raises some questions, I might say, about fairness. Garry Muratore is from the No McDonald's in the Ranges, in the Dandenong Ranges organisation, who has told us this yarn and can tell it on the radio again this morning. Morning to you, Garry.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Thanks for letting us know. Set the scene for us. What's happened at this disputed restaurant development?
Well, since the restaurant's been open, what we've been doing is we've been doing a litter survey. So we've been asking people to record where they find litter, put it into a Google map, and then either bin it or return it to the store. Now, we've seen litter spike up here since it's open. Even though the store is trading poorly, we're still seeing a lot of litter. So last week, one of the local dads, he was on his way to work. He goes to the station every day. He picked up a coffee cup, an apple pie wrapper and a burger wrapper. As he walked past the store, he placed it at the front door and off he went to catch the train. Later that night, he was visited by two policemen.
Policemen?
Policemen, yeah.
Victoria Police?
Victoria Police. McDonald's had called the police to come down. They've obviously trawled through CCTV television. They've identified this poor chap, and they've come around and they've basically given him a warning and said that if he continues to do it, he would be fined.
How did they identify him?
Well, we're assuming it's CCTV television.
But that just gives you an image. How do they turn that into a name and an address?
I don't know. Maybe someone in the store knew him, but he certainly said that they came to the door and he was identified through someone at the store. Now, what makes it worse was they threatened to fine him. Monday, the local paper comes out. There's a small article in the paper that a local man had been fined. He finds out in the paper before he gets the fine in the mail. So the police had gone ahead, briefed the local media, and then they've done this. So they're basically doing it to demonise this campaign. And this is systemic of a much bigger problem we've had with VicPol, and we actually, quite frankly, are questioning their relationship with McDonald's. We believe it's inappropriate and unhealthy.
I wonder what would happen if I was to complain and ring the police to say someone dropped, what did you say, 2 wrappers and a styrofoam cup?
Yeah.
If I rang and said someone had dropped 2 wrappers and a styrofoam cup out in the street in front of my workplace or my home or whatever, I wonder if the police would go and scour CCTV footage and look to identify and then go and personally visit and then issue an infringement notice as a consequence.
I can answer that, John. During the campaign, when people were making presentations to the council, we had several campaign members have bags of McDonald's rubbish dumped in their front yard. It was trolling by, unsociable people. This was reported to police, and they said, there's nothing we can do. You just have to put up with it. So, they tend to, happy to jump on the phone, get on the phone and sort the McDonald's issues out, but they won't support the community. And that's all we're asking the police to be fair. We had a situation with a gentleman who had been chalking on the footpath. He'd been just drawing a stylised McDonald's logo with a cross through it. Police had come up to him. He said, is this a problem? They said no. Very next day, he was slapped with a fine. That's going to Ringwood Court next week. I've spoken to Police Command at Knox. When I raised the fact that they were, charging a guy with a frivolous thing like chalking, Knox Command said, we wouldn't do that. It just doesn't happen. It happened basically the day that students were chalking on Abbott's daughter's university, and in the Herald Sun, a police comment was, we wouldn't charge people because it's not permanent. Well, they charge them up in Tacoma because they're trying to demonise this legal and peaceful campaign.
It's quite surprising, actually, but, there's all sorts of issues that come to mind, including, I just wonder, do police still get, is it free or discounted food from that particular fast food chain?
Yes, they do. On the day of the opening, when 40 public order response officers, so these are people paid for by the Victorian taxpayer, were there to keep law and order. And again, there was no need because it was a peaceful protest. We've got images of the police walking out the back with their bags of McDonald's. Now, I gave that to Police Command over 3 months ago. At the time, they looked at it and to be honest, they didn't think it was a problem. They said, oh, maybe we should use this image at a sergeant's training course to show what not to do at a protest. So I just think that's despicable. In November last year, Ken Lay was in the Herald Sun and he was asking McDonald's not to provide this service to police. I've never heard anything further from that. But what Ken Lay should do is ask the police not to take the discounted food. Particularly in this case, it was a pretty contentious issue, and to have police, eating McDonald's food on the day of the opening, it's not a good look.
Well, we will. It is, as you've said, it is in its first instance a trifling matter. In its development, a trifling matter. In discussing it, yes, we acknowledge it's a trifling matter, but on the other hand, it's representative of something that is, I would have thought, kind of weird. And I wouldn't mind knowing why the double standard and why the special treatment. I think it's a fair question to ask, Garry. And I've got some very witty text messages. Would you like a littering fine with that? That's not bad. I must live one soft drink away because my front garden is full of empty drink containers. It's an interesting one. Come on, John, these people are clearly troublemakers, making a point of leaving litter at the door. Why do you perpetrate the victim line? And how much oxygen are you going to give these sore losers? Just a smattering of the text messages, Garry.
Yeah, well, we'll say we're not sore losers. As I say, the campaign's not over and we'll continue to fight. I was going to say, John, this is not us just having a whinge at the police on a whim going to the media. We've raised this with the police at senior level several times, and in fact 2 weeks ago we wrote to both the Chief Commissioner and the Minister of Police with a laundry list of issues that have gone on, which has included the assault of a protester over 12 months ago by a senior officer that still hasn't come to an end. It took them 12 months to actually talk to that officer, and in the end they came back to the complainant and suggested that he should withdraw the complaint to save him a trip to court. So, we're asking the questions. We need to know what is this relationship with McDonald's and why is it so inappropriate?
Fair questions, Garry. We'll see if we can get you some answers. And thank you. Garry Muratore from the No McDonald's in the Dandenong Rangers group. Is it the Mac Police? Carla from Upwey says, I've found McD's rubbish in Upwey and Sherbrooke Forest, where it never used to be. Coppers do get free Maccas, but shouldn't, says Mon in Frankston. If you take the time to notice, most roadside rubbish is from fast food chains, says Marky from Crib Point. People like sticking it in their mouths, but don't like the smell of it afterwards in their cars. And others saying, oh, come on, give it up. What trash, you lost, move on. And this surely is not worthy of even putting it on the radio. 17 minutes to 9. Right through till 12, your calls, 1300 222 774.